Let me ask you, what can happen in 90 seconds? Can a person disappear in 90 seconds? This question has been haunting the Biggs family for 25 years. January 2nd, 1999 is a normal day for most people. However, for the Biggs family, it's the worst day of their lives. January 2nd, 1999 is the day that Mikel Biggs of Mesa, Arizona disappeared and was never seen again. In the 25 years since her disappearance, very little evidence has showed up and no one has been charged. In the years following her disappearance, she became known as the girl who disappeared in 90 seconds due to the way it happened. Mikel's case is very sad for many. However, many do hold hope that somewhere out there, Mikel is still alive and is waiting to return to her family. We can only hope. This video will go over her disappearance as well as some theories in this case. While it won't help in solving it, I do hope it can help in some way. This is the disappearance of Mikel Biggs. Mikel Diana Biggs was born on May 31st, 1987 to Darian and Tracy Biggs. She lived in Mesa, Arizona, a suburb of Phoenix, with her parents, as well as her 9-year-old sister Kimber and 3 of her siblings. She lived in this house on Elmore Avenue. Her bedroom was the window on the left side of the front door. Mikel was described as intelligent and a happy girl. She was someone who was always up for an adventure. She was seen as funny and could put a smile on anyone's face. Mikel was a musician, being talented at the clarinet and piano at a young age, and was taking piano lessons at the time. She attended Limerick Elementary School as a 6th grader and Kimber as a 4th grader. She had a knack for drawing, and if she saw something or thought of something, she would draw it. She dreamed of working for Disney when she grew up, wanting to be an animator. She was an honor student at her school, being a straight A student, and she was just seen as an amazing person. She was a tidy person who kept her room clean, in contrast to Kimber, who was dirty. Kimber had the best way to describe Mikel. Perfect. Something I'm sure she was once jealous of and hated, but has since grown to love and honor of her big sister. She was the daughter every parent wanted, and the kid that every sibling wanted to be. Mikel had a lot going for her, and certainly a bright future. Unfortunately, that was all about to change. January 2nd, 1999. A new year had dawned, the last year of the 1990s and the 1900s. Even though it was a year away, people were excited for the year 2000. While Christmas was over, children were still on break. On this day, Mikel and Kimber were playing outside near their home on Tortex Street and Elmore Avenue. Mikel played around on Kimber's new bike. This annoyed Kimber as she got it for Christmas, and Mikel had her own bike. Eventually, that evening, as the sun was setting, the two heard an ice cream truck coming. They waited, and waited, and waited, and waited. But the truck was taking a long time. It was starting to get dark and cold. Kimber was getting cold and decided to go get her coat. Other children also got cold or bored and headed home as their parents called them. Mikel, however, remained. Kimber left to go home. This was the last time Kimber would see her sister. When she got home, the girl's mother told him it was time to come inside. Kimber went back outside to tell Mikkel it was time to come in. But when she got to the spot she was last at, Mikkel was no longer there. All that was left was the change for the ice cream and her bike on the ground with the wheels spinning. At first, she was annoyed, thinking Mikkel left the bike there to have Kimber take it and was possibly playing a prank on her. But it didn't take long for her to figure out something was wrong. Her sister was nowhere in sight. Kimber returned home to tell her mom, Tracy. She then told her to go and check their neighboring friends, the Millers. But when she did, she wasn't there either. The Millers sent out one of their sons to go and help her, but they weren't able to find her. Their son was able to go and find the quarters. After that, he sent Kimber home to go and tell their mom. Like any parent, Tracy began to worry. Soon they called the police to investigate. The police had Kimber retrace her steps from the time she left Mikkel to the time she got home and then went back to where Mikkel was. Within 30 minutes, the police and hundreds of people in town were looking for Mikkel. They checked everywhere in the area, but the girl was nowhere to be found. They checked 35 mine shafts in the Satin Mountains, wondering if she went down them or possibly fell down. They checked dumpsters and containers. They asked ice cream vendors if they were in the area at the time of her disappearance. Scent dogs were used. A small trace was found but ended up just a few feet away. This possibly meant she was taken into a vehicle. It became clear that Mikkel wasn't playing or just wandered off. Somebody took her. Hours and days passed, and Mikkel was nowhere in sight. An investigation was made. One of the first people investigated was none other than Darian, the girl's father. Kimber was annoyed by this, knowing he had nothing to do with it. She thought it was unfair the police thought he was a suspect, all while losing his daughter. It's also possible that Darian was rather calm during the early hours and days of the investigation. Normally, when a loved one disappears, people will freak out about it. And if they don't, it often draws suspicion from the police. So if Darian wasn't really freaking out, it might have made him suspicious. It's possible Darian was questioned due to his lack of showing emotion. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't have any emotions. He just didn't show them much openly. I'm guessing he's a man who loves his children but just never really hugged, kissed, or smiled too much. However, he wasn't clean. He said he was at work when she disappeared, but this was a lie. He also lied that he was at a friend's house at the time. Darian then admitted he was having an affair with another woman at the time. And while he failed a lie detector test, the police agreed it was due to the emotional stress. Darian was later cleared. There would be a few more suspects over time and questioned, but all were cleared. One I will get to shortly. As more time passed, so did the hopes of finding Mikkel. Her family and community held on to hope she was alive and she would come home. But soon, reality began to set in. The people of Mesa began to accept that Mikkel was likely dead. And as hard it was to accept, the Biggs came to this conclusion as well. As time went on, so did any hopes of finding Mikkel. In 2004, January 2nd, 5 years after her disappearance, her family held a funeral. There was a little white casket with nothing in it, topped with purple flowers, her favorite color. The funeral was seen as closure for her parents, especially Tracy, as it did ease the pain at least a little bit. My Heart Will Go On from Titanic played, one of Mikkel's favorite songs. Kimber blamed herself for the whole thing for years. She not only lost her sister, but her childhood. While most kids were playing games and being innocent, she had to look for her sister, have sleepless nights, and cry knowing her sister was gone. At just 9 years old, Kimber had to face the real world. Her mom told her that if she stayed out, she could have been taken, or worse, both of them. It wasn't her fault. It was the kidnapper's fault. She came to accept her older sister was likely gone, but tried to remain on the hope. When Jamie Claus, a girl who was kidnapped and found alive, it did give her a little hope that maybe one day her sister will return home. She has her own family now, making Mikkel an aunt. She once showed a picture of Mikkel to her son, and he seemed to have recognized her. This makes Kimber feel her son met her and that she was his guardian angel. She is protective of her son, and rightfully so. She has worked with the National Criminal Justice Training Center, training cops how to prevent events like this from happening, and if they do, how to manage them. The kid's parents divorced. Darian's affair, combined with the stress and agony of losing their eldest daughter, was just too much for their marriage to handle. Darian married another woman, and Tracy moved to Utah. Perhaps Meza was just too painful a memory. Every year, on her birthday, as well as the anniversary of her kidnapping, Tracy lights candles and buys some purple flowers from Mikkel to honor her memory. Well, I'm not sure. Kimber still seems to live in Mesa, and maybe her siblings too. People in Mesa, especially in neighborhoods right by where Mikkel disappeared, were scared. For months, many parents refused to let their children go out alone. Even as parents calmed down, they still had to wonder if the man who took Mikkel was out there, and he could take theirs too. Mikkel's case was one of the most costly in Arizona history. Helicopters searched the area. Lab tests were done. Flyer after flyer was put out. Many people were questioned and hundreds helped out as best they could. It's become a well-known case with many hoping to bring justice to Mikkel. Many people held on to hope that she's out there somewhere. While the search does go on, they are no closer to finding her. In recent years, people online have kept Mikkel's case alive, making articles, videos, and groups dedicated to her. Documentaries, such as Gone in 90 Seconds, have explored the case. Even though it's been over 25 years, people remember. Mikkel would be 37 if she were still alive today. Many theories have been made about her disappearance. One is that she was taken by a sexual predator. There was at least one who lived near the Biggs, who I will talk about shortly. Any others who might have been questioned were cleared. If she was, could she have been taken by one who lived further away? If this is the case, she might have been held in captivity. This would bring up the question if she is still being held. While it would be hard holding someone for that long, it's not unheard of. J.C. DeGard, for example, was held captive for 18 years, until she was finally freed. Mikkel might have lost her will to leave and would be too weak to fight back. Kidnappers also threaten to hurt their captor's family if they don't obey, which would lead Mikkel to listen to protect them. It would also matter if it was just one person or a group of people. Another theory is that she was taken into trafficking in Mexico and sold into child slavery. She might have been taken, sold, and forced into labor, or something else. While it's not as common in the US, it still happens. Would she still be a slave in Mexico today? If she were, would she be in labor or a sex slave? A third theory is that the supposed ice cream truck hit her. Not wanting to face manslaughter charges, the driver took her and hit her. I find this one the least likely. I've never seen an ice cream truck go more than 20 miles per hour in a neighborhood. If that. I say they usually go slower than that. An impact enough to kill her would have to do a lot of damage to the bike as well. It was supposedly a new bike, so it wouldn't have many scratches or dent on it. If someone did find out a vendor was in the area and what employee it was, hiding her would only make things worse. The first two listed theories would give the possibility that she is alive. If she were to be found or free herself, she could return home. Of course, this would also mean that she's faced 25 years of torment and trauma. She has gotten no love and is just a thing to the monster who has her. Even if she is alive, she would never be the same. Mikkel might be physically alive, but the Mikkel that everyone knew would have died a long time ago. D. Lee Blalock is a name that will always haunt the town of Meza. Blalock lived just a couple blocks down from the Biggs on Tortek Street. Neighbors said he seems friendly and went by the law, but he once raped a woman named Susan Quintet. This made Blalock the main suspect. He claimed he was watching a football game in his garage at the time the kidnapping happened, which his wife confirmed. However, his wife also said she wasn't sure if he was watching it at the exact moment. His house was searched and nothing odd was found. While they wanted to search a trailer, they didn't have a search warrant for it. I'm not sure if they ever used a dog to go and sniff it out either. The Biggs asked Blalock while in prison for the rape crime if he took their daughter, but he maintained his innocence. Blalock was also seen in a video for a block watch for Mikkel 10 years after she disappeared. In the video, Blalock says,
"And I see that you're living next to me, and I see something suspicious going on, I guarantee you, I'll be calling 911.
However, several months after Mikkel disappeared, he claimed he was innocent of sexually harassing a neighbor. Evidence said otherwise, and he was arrested. Today, Blalock is serving a 187-year sentence for attacking a neighbor. He still maintains he's innocent of the Mikkel case, despite having nothing to lose at this point. The Big family, the people of Meza, and some people interested in the case believe he is responsible for her disappearance. Susan even agreed to drop her charges against him if he just confessed, but he still maintained he was innocent. People tend to believe he had hidden her in his trailer and disposed of her when no one was looking. But still, there was no evidence and he was cleared. Some want to talk with him again and about that old video. Blalock has his own kids, and some would like to know how he would feel if his kid was missing for 25 years, with no answers. Could a guilt trap like this work against him and make him confess? As of right now, there is no information this idea has happened yet. Years had passed. While many people still hoped for Mikkel, many others had moved on. The Biggs family had grown up and were doing different things now. But on March 14th, 2018, something strange happened. In the town of Neenah, Wisconsin, a man walked into the police lobby with a dollar bill he found in the collection of money for Girl Scout cookies. On it had a shocking message. It read, "My name is Mikkel Biggs, kidnapped from Meza, Arizona. I'm alive." This was shocking. It seemed for the first time in years there was evidence in this case. This brought back hopes for the people who knew about Mikkel. Was she truly alive? This was seen as a breakthrough for some in the case. However, there were doubts. The Meza police weren't sure if it was real or not. Even if it was, there would be no way to trace it, as many people will leave their fingerprints on a dollar. The Biggs family was also skeptical. For one, the first name was misspelled, missing an L and an E. They also thought the handwriting looked as if someone tried to write it like a child. Because of this, they thought it was fake and just a mean prank by someone. However, this has led to theories. Some people think the name being misspelled could be due to the note being written in a rush. If Mikkel is being held in captivity, it's possibly she always has close eyes on her, and maybe only has seconds to go and write this down. When people are in a hurry or are panicking, they do tend to misspell even easy words. If Mikkel did write this down, she didn't have time to go and spell check it. Just it was readable. Mikkel is also an uncommon name. I personally have never met a Mikkel before. Even doing a Wikipedia search only brings up one person. And unless her full name is Kimberly, even Kimber is a rather uncommon name too. In fact, the name Mikkel isn't even listed on Beyond the Name. That's how uncommon it is. Another possibility is that she's received head trauma and emotional stress. All those years of torment have hurt her cognitive skills, up to the point where she doesn't even remember how to spell her name. As for the handwriting, people say this could be due to the fact that Mikkel was a child when she was taken. If she's been in captivity, she probably hasn't written a lot of things for years. She hasn't had a formal schooling to let her handwriting improve. Most people's handwriting improves throughout their school year. If you were to go and check your schoolwork when you were an 11-year-old, it would probably look different from the handwriting you have as an adult. While Mikkel might be an adult, she would still have the education of a 6th grader. Of course, if this was legit, there would be no way to trace the dollar. It remains a mystery if it's real or not, but the cops and Bix lean on fake. Mikkel's disappearance is one of the most baffling. Detective after detective have worked on the case, but have nothing. There are little clues aside from the chains, the bike, and the possible dollar. Many kidnap cases will usually have some good clues, even if it turns up to nothing, but there isn't anything here. The closest thing to witnesses were Kimber and a man in a car who passed by before Mikkel was captured, but no one actually saw it happen, despite it being a good-sized neighborhood. No one heard Mikkel scream. No one heard a man yell. No one heard a car going fast down the road, and it all happened in 90 seconds. One might argue with this too. The abductor had to wait for Kimber to leave. If he took Mikkel when Kimber was still in earshot or could see him taking her, the cover would be blown. Kimber would have gotten there seconds earlier to see Mikkel being dragged away. So it might actually be less than 90 seconds. Nobody has seen or heard of Mikkel since. In many kidnap cases, people will claim they have seen the missing person, even if they are years older. I'm not sure if there have been any Mikkel sightings though. The Mesa police did say they have a person of interest in early 2024, but nothing has come up since. There is currently a documentary in development by Feld Films that will tell the story. Kimber is working on it, and family members and detectives will also play a part. Maybe something like this could finally bring some light into this case. Kimber hopes that this will keep Mikkel's case alive as well as help other families who've had similar stories. I hope so too. Despite this case being the most costly in Arizona history, I don't see it discussed as much as other people's missing cases. People like Asa Degree, Lars Matink, Mara Murray, Andrew Gosden, Madeline McCann, Michaela Gordant, and Morgan Nick seem to get more attention, which they do all deserve attention so they can be solved, but I think Mikkel needs just as much as they do. Hopefully it will be a successful documentary and raise awareness, and maybe solve this once and for all.
a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry, be happy. In every life we have some trouble, but when you worry you make it double. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Don't worry.